what defines Star Wars? What is Star Wars? I'm hearing that question come up more and more. And it's interesting because you never really have that question come up for other IPs as much. But Star Wars, people have always had a very clear definition, I guess in their minds personally, of what is Star Wars to them. And I think it can be difficult at times to describe what Star Wars is. You know, the EU is filled with so many diverse kinds of stories across various mediums, and many fans resonate with specific parts of the IP more than others. Like me personally, there's just certain stories in the EU and the films that I just connect with more and that I appreciate more, and others not so much. It just doesn't hold that same fascination for me. So while it may be hard to have a clear, one singular definitive definition of what Star Wars is, I can say that I know it when I see it and feel it. And especially I think with these last few episodes of Andor season 2, that is Star Wars to me. The battle between the forces of good and evil, friendships that are forged in adversity, loyalty, sacrifice, redemption, parental figures and the legacies of their children, these Eastern, Western philosophies and motifs. This is Star Wars to me. I think that's what people think of when they think of what is Star Wars. It's its setting, it's its themes in this unique universe. So what makes Andor Star Wars? So I do have some nitpicks, but as a whole show, overall, it's really well done. It is sincere. It's a sincere effort to take Star Wars seriously again, and to make something that's going to stand the test of time in its characters and its legacy, and the effort that it makes to connect to the original trilogy. And obviously we knew it was going to connect to Rogue One, but it really does flow pretty well into the original trilogy, which is how it should be. After watching Andor, I watched Rogue One, it definitely makes that film better for me. But yeah, I just appreciate that it was taken seriously. That is a big deal for a lot of people. A lot of Star Wars fans are tired of creators coming in and viewing it as simply just space wizards and lightsaber battles. And that's what Star Wars is to them. And you can tell that it's just action figures being smashed together. Dave Filoni's approach is very non-serious. And that's why the brand or the IP itself has declined so much in people's eyes, is Dave Filoni's non-serious approach. He views this all as tall tales. He doesn't care about the canon or the mythology. He doesn't take it seriously. You can see that. His view, his approach has just served to diminish the brand in a lot of people's eyes. That's been interesting to see as well. This increasing discontent with people who may have in the past defended the sequel trilogy, defended other Star Wars Disney Plus shows, but now when they see something of quality, a true sincere effort to take Star Wars seriously, to tell a great story, to incorporate great characters, character development. Now they realize what is possible in this IP. And they realize, oh, I guess it's been garbage mostly since Disney's acquisition. Now I'm seeing a lot of people too that were hard defenders for the sequel trilogy coming around to seeing how mediocre the brands become. Now when they realize what's possible, now when they're invested in the story, with Andor, they weren't invested to begin with. Star Wars has become so mainstream that a lot of people just don't take it seriously. They like Star Wars films, but haven't really dived into anything else. But now that they're truly invested, as they've gotten to know these characters and this universe, seeing it in a new light, now they realize how awful the sequel trilogy is, that that's the road that's set for the future. I think more and more people definitely don't want to go back to Dave Filoni's approach of smashing action figures together. When they realize now it's possible, it made a sincere effort to expand and enrich upon what was already established with the original films. They started out with Rogue One wanting to flesh out the mission to obtain the Death Star plans, and then that had some success to it. It's definitely one that's better served to have this show attached to it, because now you can see the Rebel network being created and all of the sacrifices that these characters have had along the way. Is such a satisfying payoff when you watch A New Hope. I am so happy that that's what it led to. It just enriches and expands Star Wars in the films, and that's how they should have looked at it. When they do all of these different additions to the IP, that's what you should have been looking at. A sincere and quality story that serves to enrich the entire universe. Choosing a story set around this time period, they had this interesting point in time. It's ripe for storytelling. When the Empire is now in control, the dark times, and these rebels are starting to go against the Empire, all these sacrifices that they have to make along the way. I wish we would have more of that. One of the things I would have changed about this season, I feel like the first 3 episodes were just very rough. I feel like it could have just been tightened up a bit, just the most relevant information condensed to 1 episode. It did actually feel, as the course of the season unfolded, that what they really had in mind was maybe the last 3 arcs was where it really started to get good. And it felt like, were they just trying to meet the quota of 12 episodes? We have the story in mind, but we need to fill out 12 episode seasons, so let's just have Andor basically wait on a planet before things start. There's some interesting world building with Mon Mothma, but I do feel like it was too slow going. I think the arcs overall with everyone for those first 3 episodes just seemed to be stretched out like butter spread over too much bread. And other shows are much more guilty in that regard. You can tell they just have maybe 1.5 hours of good quality story that they wanted to tell, but they wanted to drag this out for a whole season. So let's just put in a bunch of needless side quests. Obviously, it's not the same with Andor, but it did feel like it easily could have just been 10 episodes. At the end of the day, it's not how you start, but how you finish. And they really brought it home at the end. And like I said before, it really felt like Star Wars to me. I know some people have so many different descriptions for what that means, but it felt easily incorporated into the established films. So that's a great job at doing that. Rough start, but they brought it home.